Welcome to SATV News. This is Shwala Alam with the headlines. Tensions rise again in Bandarban. Government to raise mortar shelling issues by Myanmar before UN, says Home Minister. First dose of COVID-19 vaccine will not be available after October 3rd this year, said Health Minister Zahid Malik. Bangladesh set a target of merchandise export at $100 billion by 2026, said Commerce Minister. Tensions are rising again on Ghumdum and Tomru border in Nakhangchari Upazila of Bandarban after the Rohingya teenager was killed and 5 people were injured when 3 mortar shells were fired from Myanmar exploded inside Bangladesh territory. The youth was killed by a mortar blast late on Friday in an area designated as no man's land, a strip of land along the Myanmar-Bangladesh border where an estimated 4,000 Rohingya live. They said that they're living there in constant fear since any catastrophe can happen anytime. Government and border guard officials said that strong protest would be lodged with Myanmar over the incident. Meanwhile, Chittagong Education Board authorities decided to shift the SSC examination center of Ghumdum High School to Kutumpalong Examination Center in Ukhia of Cox's Bazar. Home Minister Asaduzzaman Khan Kamal said that the government would raise the issue of mortar shelling by the Myanmar army near Bangladesh border before the United Nations if it is required. He made the comment while responding to reporters following the death of a Rohingya youth in mortar shelling by Myanmar on the Bangladesh border today. The minister said that Bangladesh does not support war, thus peaceful and diplomatic efforts are being made to resolve the matter. He also said that the Foreign Affairs Ministry warned Myanmar again and again regarding their mortar shelling in Bangladesh, but they did not keep their words. Asaduzzaman Khan Kamal said that the border guard Bangladesh BGP remain vigilant to prevent illegal entrance of Rohingyas in Bangladesh. Meanwhile, the United Nations Human Rights Office said that countries should do more to prevent revenues and arms from reaching a military in Myanmar that is ruling by repressing and terrorizing its people. In Friday's report, the office called for the military to be isolated further and said it had failed to govern the country in a meaningful and sustainable way or resolve a profound financial sector crisis. The United Nations had accused the junta of mass killings and crime against humanity. It said it is fighting terrorists determined to harm the country. Myanmar has been in turmoil since a coup early last year, with the military fighting a pro-democracy resistance movement and arresting thousands of its opponents. Health and Family Welfare Minister Zahid Malik said that the first dose of COVID-19 vaccine would not be available after October 3rd this year. He made the announcement while speaking at a program titled National Advocacy Workshop on COVID-19 vaccination for children aged 5 to 11 years in Dhaka today. The minister noted that the government would run one last campaign from 28 September to 3rd October before the formal session of the nationwide drive to administer the first 2 doses of the COVID vaccine. He added that some vaccines had run out of stocks and many had expired. Later, he said that the vaccination program for children aged 5 to 11 would start at the district and Upazila level from October 11. Commerce Minister Tipu Munshi said that Bangladesh set a target of merchandise export at $100 billion by 2026. He also said that as a part of the target, the government is planning to export merchandise goods worth $80 billion by 2024. The minister made the remarks while addressing a meeting at the Jatiya Press Club in Dhaka today. He added that achieving the target, the government would diversify the export basket as most of the export eating is mainly dependent on garment items, more than 84% of the national export in a year. Munshi added that the government was exploring Asian markets for boosting export and to achieve the targets by the given time. He estimated that Bangladesh would be able to send $4 billion worth of goods in the next 3 to 4 years, which will also help achieve the target. Outgoing Indian High Commissioner Vikram Kumar Doraiswamy said that the Indian government wanted the next general election to be an all-participatory, fair and impartial one in Bangladesh. He made the comment after paying floral homage to martyrs of the Liberation War at the National Martyrs Memorial in Savar this morning. The High Commissioner also said that the present government is determined to ensure a fair and impartial general election. He added that Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's visit strengthened the relationship between Bangladesh and India. The Doraiswamy also said that the Indian government had always supported the Bangladesh government. Later, he observed a minute of silence remembering the martyrs of the Liberation War.
That we will always stand with Bangladesh, with the people of Bangladesh, for a Bangladesh that the people of Bangladesh will govern and develop on their own. So I'm not here to say we will support this person or that person, but we want the Bangladeshi people to be happy, to be prosperous, and to be successful in the development of their democracy.
We are taking a short break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching SATV News. Now news from abroad. Pentagon's intelligence chief, Lieutenant General Scott Barrier said that setbacks for Russian forces that stretch resources in Ukraine show that Moscow's forces are incapable of achieving President Vladimir Putin's initial invasion aims as things stand now. He also said that the Russians plan for an occupational, not necessarily an invasion, that has set them back. At the same time, the Director of Defense Intelligence Agency cited Putin's reluctance so far to fully mobilize Russian forces to get more manpower into the fight. Russian forces have suffered major setbacks since the launch last week of the Ukrainian counteroffensive, which forced Moscow's troops back from a large swath of Ukraine's northeast. Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden warned Russia not to use chemical or tactical nuclear weapons in the war in Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin told India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi that he understood New Delhi's concern about the conflict in Ukraine. At the same time, he also said that his country would do everything to stop this as soon as possible. Putin also informed that unfortunately the opposing side, the leadership of Ukraine, announced its rejection of negotiation process and stated that it wants to achieve its goal by military means. His comment came as Modi criticized Russia's war in Ukraine during meeting with the Russian president face-to-face while both were in Uzbekistan for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit. The Indian Prime Minister said that the democracy, diplomacy and dialogue kept the world together. New Delhi and Moscow have long-standing ties dating back to the Cold War, and Russia remains by far India's biggest arms supplier. Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan traded blame for fighting on their border that killed 24 people, wounded dozens and prompted a mass evacuation. Kyrgyzstan's health ministry said earlier on Saturday that 24 bodies had been delivered in hospitals in the Batken region in the borders of Tajikistan. He also said that an additional 87 people were wounded. Clashes on the border that began earlier this week grew into large-scale fighting on Friday, involving tanks, artillery and rocket launches. As part of the shelling, Tajik forces struck the regional capital Batken with rockets. The emergencies ministry said that 136,000 people were evacuated from the area engulfed by the fighting. Mourners in London were braving a chilly night and waiting times of at least 24 hours to pay their last respect to the Queen. Officials said that the queue, nearly 5 miles long, is as near total capacity. They appealed for people to stop joining the line for now. King Charles III and his three siblings, Prince Anne, Prince Andrew and Prince Edward, earlier held a vigil by their coffin in Westminster Hall. It has been confirmed that at the King's request, both Prince William and Prince Harry will be in uniform when they take part in the vigil beside the Queen's coffin on Saturday evening. Meanwhile, late on Friday night, a man was arrested after he approached the Queen's coffin. Now sports news. Qatar defeated Bangladesh by 3-0 to make it 3 consecutive wins in Group B of the AFC Under-20 Asian Cup 2023 qualifiers at the Sheikh Ali bin Mohammed Al Khalifa Stadium. Ahmed Al-Wari starred with a hat-trick as Qatar defeated Bangladesh by 3-0 to stay perfect. Qatar was defeated Nepal and Bhutan in their earlier games, dominated the first half, with Al-Rawi finding the target in the 22nd minute. The Al Rayyan SC defender doubled Qatar's tally at the hour mark before completing his hat-trick from the penalty spot in the 5th minute of the added time. Bangladesh, who stated their intention to qualify for the AFC Under-20 Asian Cup proper after 20 years, are now third in Group B with 4 points from 3 matches. Before ending, we go to the headlines again. Tensions rise again in Bandarban. Government to raise mortar shelling issue by Myanmar before UN, says Home Minister. First dose of COVID-19 vaccine will not be available after October 3rd this year, says Health Minister Zahid Malik. Bangladesh set a target of merchandise export at $100 billion by 2026, said Commerce Minister. You're up to date so far here on SATV News, and to know the latest news, visit www.satvtv.tv. Stay with SATV.